Hi there, Joka here, and in today's video I'm going to do something a bit different. First of all, I'm going to warn you, if you do not want to see what's included in the Spellbinders 12 Days of Stitchmas Advent Calendar, please stop watching here. Okay, so let's jump into the video. First of all, this is the kit. And I am going to show you each and every one of the things that you get in the kit, because I thought that I will open them before my holidays. And I actually die cut everything and took everything with me on holiday so I can stitch things, because I know at home I never have time for things like that. So yeah, here we go. This was in the first little window. As you can see, it's a Christmas tree that you can turn into an ornament. And by the way, all of these sets you can turn into ornaments, but I did not do that. So the second one is some candles, and as you can see, you can actually, I think all sets you can do with stitching or without stitching, if that's what you prefer. And yeah, they are all different kind of cute sets, some bigger, some smaller, but there's a good variety. There is an ornament here, and yeah, the way I went about it, I actually, you know, the worst part for me is selecting colors. That takes the longest time probably in a project like this one. And because I was lacking time, like I was preparing for holidays, right? So the very last day I had to die cut everything. So basically what I did, I will show you soon, a kit that you can also buy. I think it's called Stitch Along kit, that will contain a lot of really cool products that you can use with the album. And I basically just chose those colors that came with that kit. So at least I didn't have to think about that. But anyway, let's get back to this. Then here's another ornament. And now we are at number 10. This is a little, what's this called? Stocking. Again, there's some options how you can stitch that or not stitch that. Then there's a cute sweater. I thought I was missing some detail there, but I wasn't. And then here's the last one. And I think this is actually my favorite, this angel. Again, you can either stitch it or not. It's really good that you can create a variety of different looks with it. So here is the Stitch Along kit, which comes with a lot of goodies. There's these two beautiful metallic flosses. Then there's a bunch of tapestry needles, this really cute needle minder, then some gems, and this one I haven't used, needle threader. I mean, it's easier, but I did not use that. Some foam dots. This one I also haven't used because I have a lot of plastic bobbins, but it's a really cute look. It's really cute. If you don't have any bobbins, then you can really create color coordinating ones from cardstock. And there's a bunch of flosses. You can see there are some variegated ones, and there's just some plain color. I did not use the variegated ones, I think. So I am going to choose the blues from here, the pinks, like with the red. And I'm gonna get back to that thought if I don't forget it. So I took it on holiday, and I thought, so this is a bit of a random video, okay? It was made over weeks and weeks. So my son recorded one of the ornaments that I stitched at the beach, although not fully. I think we missed the last part, but this is the only stitching that I'm gonna have in this video, because it's actually, you will see, the stitching is super simple. As always, Spellbinders created the dies with embossed lines, so you can just follow the lines you see there. You can just follow those lines and you will see where you have to go with your needle. So it's very, very simple. And because did I say that I did not use the variegated floss? I actually only used the variegated floss. Oh my God. Okay, so because it was all the light part of the floss, I decided to go down on the pattern with it, not the sides, because if you can see, there's two little patterns on the sides of the middle row, and I wanted to add a bit darker blue there, so I'm going to do that later. I don't know, when I was back at the house or something. I didn't do it here. Anyway, I just wanted to have a bit of variety, and I couldn't finish it here in the video, but I thought I'll show you at least one. I actually tore one of the strands there, so I just cut it off, and then I continued with six, instead of the 6, just with 5 strands, but you cannot see it. At least I did not notice any difference. And honestly, all these, and I used every one of them that comes with the calendar. To stitch all of these is only really a few hours, or not even that long. I guess depending on what kind of project you want to make. I created a bunch of cards and tags. I did not create ornaments, but if you want to mass produce it, it's also it would be really cute for ornaments for the tree for sure. And what else? Oh yeah, and then as you can see, I die cut this from color cardstock and also from heavyweight white cardstock that I layered behind it, so that it's sturdy as always. All right, so moving on. When I came home, I started with the projects. And the first one here, what you can see, these pink ones I actually stitched with not variegated thread, you see, so I actually used all of them. But what I did here, I took some strands of red, some strands of pink, and the light pink, and mixed them together. So the one cardstock that I added to the stitch along kit was the light pink. I think it's called, I wanted to say pink sand. I think something like that. Just so that I have a bit more options. And next to the pinks and the blues from the kit, I also used the mustard. It's called Tuscan cardstock. So instead of gold, I use the mustard basically. And there is gold cardstock in the kit, but if you've been following me for a while, you know that I will never use a double-sided metallic cardstock because I don't trust my glue, or any glue that I ever tried. I can peel away a metallic cardstock if I add glue to it, and after it dries, I can just peel it away. I tested it. It's kind of my pet peeve. I think everything has to stick, on the long run. So I'm just assembling all the things that I die cut, and then I will turn them into cards and projects. And honestly, all of the projects in this video are super simple. Um, I guess they are also easy to mass produce, but I very rarely, actually, I never mass produce anything. Maybe I create something a couple of times, but not really mass produce. So here is the next color combination. This one is the Tuscan cardstock, and as you can see, there is a variegated like mustard floss. So that's what I used, and I only used parts of it that were not so dark, because some parts are really kind of brown, so I cut those parts out. And I just had enough floss for the projects that I have in this video. I mean, the mustard ones without the brown parts that I mostly cut out. Here you can see there is a bit of brownish, but the even darker ones I just cut off. So this is my favorite little angel. I really like it. And then I used the same floss on the candles. I actually created two different looks with the candles, but then I'm not going to use the one on the left. I did not really like that look. I preferred adding the flame without the stitching and in color. So I'm adding like a thinner foam adhesive here. I kept forgetting that I have these foam dots or foam squares in the stitch along kit, because I always use mine. So yeah, I don't know, I just kept forgetting about those. So at this point, I honestly didn't have any idea what I'm gonna do with anything. I pulled out these two products from the Glimmer for the holidays collection that was actually released in August, but I did not have time for it. I only have these two products from that collection, and I wanted to use this background because it's so gorgeous, and you will see the worst, really the worst foiling that I've ever done, probably. But you will also see the best save ever, I think, that I've done. And I think that's down to the foil. I honestly, I don't know what the foil is called. I will try to guess. But it's kind of matte. And look, I could remove all of that extra. Check how much extra overfoiling I have. And I could remove all of that with that eraser without damaging the whole image. And I can normally not do that. It works on some parts, but sometimes it definitely removes the shine. Sure, there was a bit of shine here as well that got kind of removed, but if you will see, I think it's really beautiful the way it turned out. So luckily I didn't have to foil it again. But these ones turned out perfectly. So really, it's so much experimenting that I just don't have time for, with all the shims and everything. Yeah, so I'm lucky that I could save that. And what I wanted to say is that this is the foil, and this is how many gold foils I have. So I do not know what it's called, unfortunately. I will try to guess though. But I was super happy with the results, and so I foiled some of the white cardstock and some of the this is called Alabaster from Spellbinders. And because I needed a bunch of sentiments, and also I like to foil extras so I can use them on future projects. And then I pulled out a bunch of embossing folders that I thought would work with the products, because when my projects are so simple, I like to have at least a bit of texture. This one is from my own collection from last year. This one is not a 3D folder, it's just normal a normal 2D embossing folder. and also like Christmas themed. And then I'm adding double-sided tape to all of these panels so that they will flatten out better. I mean, they will not lose any dimension actually, but they will not be warped at least. So I kind of like having a little bit of frame on my projects. This one is going to be a 5 by 7 inch card, but you can see that the one side was a little bit bigger, so I actually trimmed that off so that the frame is like, I'm not saying perfect, but better. And then I am adding 3 of these little trees, and as you can see, I'm adding well, I don't know if you can see, but so the way it's layered, and because I use 2 layers of cardstock, it's not gonna be flush. So I'm using different thickness of foam tape on every level. On this one in the middle, I'm using a thinner one, and then on the top, I'm using 2 layers of the thin one, so that it's all going to be flush when I add it to my background. And I don't know, maybe you noticed that I'm actually only adding liquid glue to the floss because it's so dimensional. I used all 6 strands, so it's bulky and dimensional, so I'm not even adding glue to the paper, but it does hold. I've been doing this for years now, so it does hold. Then in the middle, because it's going to kind of be layered on the side, on the 2 trees on the sides, I'm going to add more foam tape, as in I'm going to add foam tape to the red part as well. That's where I'm starting, and this way at the top, I'm going to have 3 layers of that thin, what is it called again? Foam tape. I think it's maybe like 1-2 millimeters. It's really a thin one. And now I've actually used some foam tape on the stars, which I kind of regret in retrospect because they were not the right thickness. But okay, I mean, sometimes that happens. I pulled out this, I don't actually remember from what collection that is, but I think it might be from Jana's Christmas collection, this sentiment that I already had on hand. And because it was so simple, the card was so simple, I'm just adding some enamel dots in coordinating colors. Some are from Spellbinders even. As you can see, I already used almost all white ones. I never seem to use black ones. Maybe I should do some black and white projects or something. Okay, so this is the first card. Then moving on to the next. This one is also 5 by 7 inches, and again, I actually created 3 sweatshirts because I kind of felt like one is not enough. I did not want to just die cut everything in the calendar once. And they are small images, so I thought if I wanted to cover my cards, even if if I go with a smaller card format, still one of these die cuts I felt like wouldn't be enough, at least not with my card making style. So I die cut them from the 3 different pink red tone papers, and there were actually 3 flosses, that the 2 different pinks and a red, so it was perfect. And then I just kind of randomly placed them onto the background. You can see that I'm adding foam tape to the middle one, and then I'm adding a sentiment that I already had on hand. And again, I think this one is from Jana's Christmas collection. And that's almost it. So just some texture in the background. Then I'm adding some enamel dots again in coordinating colors. And that's it. So really all my projects are gonna be super simple, but I do hope I can still give you some ideas with the products. I pulled out this die set. It's not very old, but maybe it's not available anymore. I will check. It was a Becca Vegan collection, I'm almost certain. And because, again, my cards are simple, I wanted to use some products that I already had to add some layers and dimension. And one of the things that I like to do is this, basically adding some layers. And because this present was a bit of a bigger element, I just use one, and then this card is actually A2 size, which I don't often do anymore. And finally, I remembered that I have the foam dots, so I use some of those. And yeah, it's good to have a bunch of different thickness of foam tape, because at least the way I work, because as you can see, I'm using several layers of cardstock, so they would not be flush. So I really need, if I want to add foam tape, I will need different depth to it, or maybe multiple layers. And again, I'm using the foam dots here with one of the new die cut sentiments that I just did earlier in the video. And then I trimmed off. You see, this is now the cleaned up background. I trimmed off the edges, and I love how that looks. I think it's beautiful. And I use that, I use the alabaster cardstock. I cannot tell you if that was actually in the what is that kit called? Stitch Along kit. I don't remember, but it might be that I pulled that in, as well as the pink sand. The pink sand I definitely remember, but it can be that the alabaster is also an extra one. Again, super simple card, just a die cut and a sentiment. And then I'm moving on to the tags. So I don't have a tag shaped die. So I use this quite recent, from a few months ago. I think it's called Stylish Ovals, this die set, and I'm using that shape for all my tags here. I'm creating 5. I have these small stitched elements, so I thought tags would be fun and also useful for Christmas presents. I hope I will not forget about them by then. And just to add a little bit of extra, adding like some dimension and some layers and some embossed panels. And then I pulled out my eyelet tool that I haven't used in forever, but it's good to have these tools. I mean, I used to use it a lot. I have a ton of eyelets I will probably never use in my lifetime. I have so many, but I don't know, I feel so accomplished when after I don't know how many years I actually pull out something that I have on hand and use it again. It doesn't feel as wasteful. So folder from last year, I believe. And I will try to remember all these products and link them into the description box. Hopefully I'll have enough space. Sometimes I don't, because now I actually used quite a few products. Sometimes I just don't have enough space. There's a limited characters that you can use in that box. Okay, so this one is a little bit of an interactive element here, and it actually works just fine. And originally I wanted to add the eyelet to the top part of that bell, but it didn't look good. So instead I decided to add a bow to it and then add the eyelet above it. And again, I'm finishing it with a sentiment, and you can see on this one, this is the one that I stitched at the beach, and the two sides are darker blue. They are stitched with a darker blue floss. I seem to remember there were two different blue variegated floss in the stitch along kit. I hope I'm right. Yes, I now double checked, and there are in fact two different blue variegated flosses. And the other thing I noticed, unfortunately, because I was gonna say that there are two different sentiment dies in the advent calendar. So one is this one and the other one is Joy. They both have the same font, so they are very similar. And then when I was saying this on my previous voiceover, I realized that I have not seen that card, the pink one with the Joy. I remember putting it together in the beginning of the video, but I have not seen the card. And here I only have tags. So I have no idea what happened to that footage. I apologize. It's a super simple card though. I'm using the 3 ornaments on that card with an ornament embossing folder background. You will see it at the very end of the video. You will see photos of it, and also in my hands you will see it, but for some reason I have no footage of it. I apologize for that. Okay, so moving on to my favorite little angel here. I'm using, I believe this embossing folder is called Puff Dotty. I use it very often. That's why I remember the name. And again, super simple. I'm adding some foam tape to the back of the angel, and yeah, nothing else. I'm just going to place that on the embossed background, and then add an eyelet, and then this tag is also done. And then I think was this the second, or this was the third tag, right? I think I created 5. Okay, so again, this is something you always probably see me do. I never use just one single layer of paper for sentiments, because most of the time, even if I don't use foam tapes for the sentiment, I still want some dimension to my sentiments. So I will always use at least 2 layers of heavyweight cardstock. And then, especially if it's on foam tape, then I definitely need that. This is a basic polka dot embossing folder that I used for my background here. And yeah, this was another one why I decided to create these tags, actually, because these images are quite small and I did not want to die cut them several times, or I didn't really have an idea how to incorporate more of them into one card. Yeah, so that's why I decided that this would be better to create smaller tags. Or again, you can create ornaments from these. There is a well, there are multiple toppers in several of the little windows in the advent calendar, but I remember one, excuse me, that comes in the, I think in the first one with the tree, that has like a longer stick that you could use with any of these die cuts and create an ornament, because it has the like a hole at the top and then a longer stick, so you can place it behind any of these die cuts basically. If that's something you like, maybe you want, maybe I don't know, maybe a lot of people have like smaller trees on their craft table if there's space, and then these would be cute ornaments, I think. Okay, so again, I use the same sentiment set for all of my tags, and just use a lot of these foam squares now that I actually remember I have them. And then I finish them all with some twine. Sometimes I add a bow at the base, and sometimes, like now, I'm doing that, and sometimes I don't. Just depends on the tag itself, if I feel like I need something or not. Okay, so here you have all the projects done. I hope I could give you some ideas. I hope you are happy with the advent calendar. I think they are releasing it so early so that everybody can create something before Christmas, because the December is obviously so busy for everybody. And stitching maybe needs a bit more planning. Honestly, it does not need a lot of time. You can see that they are not complicated. There's not a lot of stitching. But if you want to mass produce something, then it obviously needs time. So I think that's why probably they release them so early, but maybe some people don't want to open them early. So that's why I gave the spoiler alerts. So I hope nobody watched anything they did not want to. And again, I hope I could give you some ideas. Here is the card that I mentioned. Unfortunately, I don't have the footage. I just created some ornaments hanging from the card, basically super simple. Again, thank you very much for watching. I have another video on the channel today with a completely different collection. I think it's called Game Day. Perfect for all the sport enthusiasts in your family. So here you can see a bunch of close-up photos if you want. Thank you very much for hanging out with me so long. I know this is a long video. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.